All right, here we are. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker for today, His Grace KAUNTEya Prabhu. And all glories to the Samad Vaishnavi devotees. Today is Friday. If I'm not mistaken, today is Friday. It's the last day of the busy week, and it's the 18th day of April 2025.
It's also Good Friday.
It's also Good Friday. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Well, that is a little bit of a bone of contention, how the death of our Lord is considered the Good Friday. But yes, it is a Good Friday. It's a very wonderful day. And we're fortunate. We have His Grace KAUNTEya Prabhu, who will be speaking to us from the Nectarian Srimad Bhagavatam. There are a few devotees here at the moment, but more devotees will be joining shortly. So, Prabhuji, we may put the verse on the screen, and then you take it over from here. I think
later, Prabhu, later, I wanted to share a PowerPoint. If you can give me sharing rights later.
Yeah, we'll do that. Let me do that right away.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You are the Christ man.
But maybe you have the verse ready, the Bhagavatam verse ready.
I have, but you can do it from your end.
Well, I don't have that ready.
Okay, I will do it. Let me do it.
At the end, you give me host privileges.
Yes. Let me do it. So it's 38.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So we welcome all the devotees and we enter into this meditation on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Purushasya cha samstanam swarupam va parasya cha jnanam cha naigamham yattat guru shishya prayojanam. Purushasya, the living entity, cha also, samsthanam, existence, sarupam, identity, va, either or, parasya, of the supreme, cha also, jnanam, knowledge, cha also, naigamam, in the matter of the Upanishads, yat, that, tat, the same, guru, spiritual master, shishya, disciple, prayojanam, necessity. Translation. What are the truths regarding the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What are their identities? What are the specific values in the knowledge of the Vedas? What are the specific values in the knowledge in the Vedas? And what are the necessities for the spiritual master and his disciples? Purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The living entities are constitutionally servitors of the Lord, who can accept all kinds of service from everyone. It is clearly declared, Bhagavad Gita 5:29, that the Lord is the supreme enjoyer of the benefits of all sacrifices and penances, the proprietor of all that is manifested, and the friend of all living entities. That is his real identity. Therefore, when the living entity accepts the supreme proprietorship of the Lord and acts in that attitude, he resumes his real identity. In order to elevate the living entity to this standard of knowledge, there is the necessity of spiritual association. The bona fide spiritual master desires that his disciples know the process of rendering transcendental service to the Lord, and the disciples also know that they have to learn about the eternal relationship within God and the living entity from a self-realized soul. To disseminate transcendental knowledge, one must retire from mundane activities on the strength of enlightenment in knowledge in terms of Vedic wisdom. That is the sum and substance of all the questions in this verse. Om Vishwadaya Krishna Vistagudare Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gurvani Prasharineni Vishisha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarvascha Kripa Sindhu Vachapati Panam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, today, because both the verse and the purpose stresses this idea of guru and disciple, I wanted to present to you a PowerPoint which I originally put together for a convention. I hope you can see it on your screen. And I entitled it Preparation for Future Gurus. It was presented for a online Viplavaha International Conference in August 2021. So, what's all about? The summary of this presentation is in 3 points. And by the way, feel free to ask questions at any point. I mean, you can raise your hand or somehow make me know that you want to ask some question or make a comment and share a reflection. So we talk about 3 things. Ideally, every devotee should become guru. Second, being a guru, there are 3 sociological approaches. In other words, the guru function is the same, but we could say the social environment, the social structure, the organizational structure can be different. So we'll analyze 3 fundamental approaches to the guru. 3 fundamental, we could say, environments for a guru. And then we'll discuss a GVC resolution on preparing guru, which is, at that point, was mostly an inspirational thing. Okay, so we start with some quotes by Srila Prabhupada, different years. This will be chronological, starting from the older ones. Now, even in 1967, as you could see, little more than 1 year after he founded ISKCON, he say, I wish that in my absence, all my disciples become the bona fide spiritual master. Of course, Srila Prabhupada was also very practical, so he may not have expected everyone. He knew that devotees were struggling in many ways. But ideally, the guru would like that all his disciples become qualified to also accept disciples. It's like an organic thing. You have a father, and when you grow up, you get married, you also have your children. Then your children grow up, they also have their own children, and so on. So on the spiritual platform is the same. The guru is there to initiate, to instruct, then the guru moves on in life or the transition at the time of death, and the disciples should also accept their own disciples. In an ideal situation. This is in 69, Srila Prabhupada wrote, maybe by 1975, all of my disciples will be allowed to initiate and increase the numbers of the generation. So this did not happen. 69, so he was saying maybe in 6 years, all my disciples will be also becoming guru. It did not happen. But it was an idea that Srila Prabhupada had at one point. It did not happen because actually in 75, he explained that devotees were not yet so mature. There were so many problems, sannyasis who would not maintain their vows. So it was not the moment. But the idea remains, the concept, the aspiration, the hope. This is a interview, room conversation. Mohsin Hassan, he was a scholar. He wanted to know technically about the movement. After you, is it any decision has been made who will take over? Prabhupada, yes, all of them will take over. The students who are initiated from me, all of them will act as I am doing. All the disciples which I'm making, initiating, they are being trained to become future spiritual master. Whoever is initiated is competent to make disciples. In other words, what is the main qualification of a guru? The main qualification is that he's a good disciple. Disciple means discipline. Shisha. Shisha, in the Sanskrit of the verse, is a guru shisha. Shisha means disciple, and shisha is very similar to the English word discipline, because shisha means he's under control of the guru. Is the shash dhatu. Dhatu means the root of the word. Srila Prabhupada said is the same word for shastra, for instance. Those are the rules and regulations. Even the word shastra with the short a means weapons. So instruments of control. So shisha means one who voluntarily submits to another person, a guru, as his disciple, his or her disciple. And so he agrees to be controlled by the guru. Of course, he has to study the guru, see, can I trust the person? Do I have faith? Does he come in disciplic succession? Is he part of a tradition, or is it some cultural mushroom coming up? No. So then if the disciple is convinced, yes, he's a bona fide spiritual guide, then he takes initiation. And Srila Prabhupada here stresses this idea that in ideal circumstances, every disciple can make their own disciples eventually. So the most important characteristic or qualification, prerequisite of a guru is to be a good disciple. Because ultimately, what is a guru in very simple terms? A guru is a good devotee who helps the disciple be and become a good devotee. That's the bottom line, we could say. This is a conversation next year, 72. Atreya Rishi, does the spiritual master have to be designated by the former spiritual master? Prabhupada, so far designation is concerned, the spiritual master authorizes every one of his disciples. But it's up to the disciple to carry out the order. So it's like a standing order. It's like a default setting. The guru accepts disciples. If you can take initiation, later on, you can give initiation. If you are a serious devotee, serious, somewhat senior, obviously not after 1 or 2 years, but after you have some experience in devotional life, you've gone through different learnings. So you got to be serious, you got to be senior, you got to be studious, because teacher, guru means teacher, right? So you need to know the Shastra. Otherwise, what you teach the disciples, you can't teach them jokes. You have to tell the Shastra. And sincere. Obviously, it should be done as a service, should not be done as self-aggrandizement. It should not be a career move. Oh, now I'm guru and people respect me and people give me money when I go and visit. It should be more as a service to one's own guru, because it's a necessity. It's an organic necessity for the parampara to continue. And so sincere, senior, studious, and senior people should take this up. 75. Every student is expected to become acharya. Acharya means one who knows the scriptural injunctions and follow them practically in life and teaches them to his disciples. I want to see my disciples become bona fide spiritual master and spread Krishna consciousness very widely. That will make me and Krishna very happy. So, I think these are not all the quotes. There are more, but these are, I think, very representative of this idea. Throughout the years, Srila Prabhupada kept saying the same thing. 76 in Vrindavan. We require hundreds and thousands of gurus, but not cheaters. This is the time when it requires hundreds and thousands of gurus. We need spiritual guides in society. Society is quite bewildered, confused, disoriented. People don't really know who they are. We saw in the verse today, Vidura inquires, what's the nature of the individual soul? What's the nature of the supreme soul? People don't know. These are the basic things. Sometimes people don't even know that, or they are very vague idea of what's the end, what's the self, what's the supreme self. People don't know. They need guidance. Because they don't know, they get involved in so many sinful activities, and they become depressed, they become compressed. Okay, so this was a selection of quotes where Srila Prabhupada tried hard to impress to his disciples. He wants everybody to become a guru. If is there any question or comment, otherwise we move to the next section.
Well, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing this knowledge with us. What you're sharing with us seems to be nothing new, but I would say that it seems they are kind of strange to lots of us, because if we all knew these are the facts, why are some devotees allowing themselves to be dragged into this unfortunate thought that Srila Prabhupada should be the only initiating guru? And we've lost so many devotees from ISKCON to other groups following this nonsensical idea that Srila Prabhupada should be the only eternal guru in ISKCON.
Yes, you're talking about the Ritvik system, Ritvik idea, the Ritvik imagination or hallucination. So I want to share in the chat, I want to share a book. This is a book that Jayapataka Maharaj inspires some of his disciples, including myself, to put together. So it's a teamwork. It's called The 100 Deviations of Ritvikism. You can see the link in the chat. You can download it for free. And let me see if I can show you the cover. You can see the cover now. Ritvik Maya Vada Shatadushani, 100 Deviations of Ritvikism. The subtitle is Beware of the Ritvik Net of Illusion. This came out in 1998, when this Ritvikism was introduced. Now, let me, of course, there is the whole book, so I'm not going to speak the whole book. If you want to read it, again, there are under deviations. Why Ritwik is wrong in under ways. Actually, it's more, under 30 ways. But we put under ways because that's a traditional, in India, say Shatadushan, it means under way, something's wrong. So I'm not going to give all these under ways, but I can tell you shortly that the Ritwik philosophy has no philosophical, theological, historical, or traditional basis. It's just a speculation. Srila Prabhupada never said that he wanted this system to exist. Yes, during his presence, some devotees were initiating on his behalf, was very clear. But he never spoke anything about that this will be the system when he left. Now, but so then why? You ask him why? Why? Because unfortunately, in ISKCON, many gurus, especially in the 90s, when we put the book together, when the Ritwik idea came out, in the 80s and in the 90s, unfortunately, many gurus fell down, failed in their spiritual duties, their duty to Srila Prabhupada, in their duty to their service, and in their duty often to the ashram. They left the sannyas ashram and so on. So, and their duty to their disciples. In other words, they stopped being reliable guides, reliable teachers. Some they left the movement, some they just left the ashram. So it was a bit of a dramatic situation. So, in other words, psychologically, in the society, it created a fertile ground for the acceptance of this idea. In other words, people said, well, people are falling down, so many, even the first 11 gurus, I think 6 or 7 fell down. So people start saying, well, if this doesn't work, must be that this is not what Srila Prabhupada wanted. It's kind of an illogical conclusion. No, well, if this doesn't work, it means that we should not have this system. And then based on, I wouldn't even call it flimsy, just imaginary evidence. They took some word out from one letter, they took one word out of one conversation, and they build up this whole thing. The Srila Prabhupada should remain the same. The only guru. Okay? And it's a fact. It's quite popular in many places. In India, yesterday I discovered a Ritwik group in Germany, and there are in many different places. And some of them are very determined, and they build the whole imaginary philosophy. And my point, when they ask me this question, I also say that in one sense, there is not much difference, because the Ritwik, whoever gives you the name on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, is actually your guru. In fact, many times you will see, if you know this ambience, many times the Ritwik guru, meaning they don't call it guru, but the Ritwik, who gives you the japa and the name, has more control and more influence on the life of the disciple than a regular guru. Because sometimes our ISKCON regular gurus, the disciple sees them once in a year, once every 5 years, they travel. They're not so present in the life of the disciple. And also very times in a visit, they don't tell you do this, do that. But these Ritviks, sometimes they're very closely connected, and therefore, in one sense, they are more gurus than the regular gurus. This is the paradox. And it's the same thing. I mean, these Ritviks choose when you can become initiated. They say by Srila Prabhupada, but they choose when you become initiated. They choose your name. And then, of course, you remain under them. No, obviously, they made you devotee. They instructed you. They told you everything. So they remain their guru. They may not call the guru, but the function is the same. So, but back to your question, yes, people started feeling that, oh, it's safer to have Srila Prabhupada as guru, because at least Srila Prabhupada is not going to fall down. But again, it's not because it's safer means it's right. I said before, there's no example in any Sampradaya, Vaishnava, in any Shastra, there just doesn't exist. Just doesn't exist. This is the conclusion. So if you're interested to see all these deviations, you can download this book for free.
Thank you so much for sharing. I've already downloaded, and I believe other devotees would also. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No problem. Okay, so I continue my presentation.
Yes.
Okay, so we require hundreds and thousands of gurus. Now, traditionally and historically, being a guru, there are three sociological approaches, or we could say one can be a guru in at least three environments and three structures. And I'll explain what are these three structures. One is what we call it the village guru. One we could call the Mata approach, and one is the university approach. So the village guru, village or small town. Imagine India, imagine say West Bengal, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, or even today. There is a deity, the village deity, and there are some brahmanas that take care of the deity. Maybe the deity comes from the time of Lord Chaitanya. So there is a guru, and very often these gurus are hereditary. The father was a guru because the father was a Pujari Brahmana, so the son also is Pujari Brahmana. The father was also initiating people where they were giving the mantras, and also the son, and then the son. It's mostly hereditary. So, and this is like a small scale. There is a guru, and there is a few disciples. Here there are 7, could be 10, 15, 3, but it's a small environment. It's more like a very close ecosystems. These are local people, maybe farmers. Anyway, the guru instructs them, initiates them. This is the village guru setting. It's very much circumscribed. No, it's a small ecosystem. It's a small environment. Now, the problem with, this is how it works. The guru as disciple, the disciple as a disciple, like that. As I said, often, very often, is hereditary. Is what we call Jati Goshai or Smartas, whatever. The problem with this is that it's a chain, but it's very easy to break. In other words, since there is no supervision, there is no board over this, the guru is the last word. Now, if you're in a village in Bangladesh or in Bengal or in Assam, you are the ultimate authority. And if you do something wrong, either morally or philosophically, nobody can check. If you diminish the standards, or if you introduce something wrong, so the whole system is very, very weak for maintaining the strength of the sampradaya. What to speak of spreading the sampradaya all over the world. So, but it's a system, it's a sociological setup. The second is the mat approach. And you see the silos. We give this analogy of the silos because the silos are, you can see, they're supposed to have the same thing, maybe grains, but they're separate. Each one is separate. They're not connected. One silos has got the stuff, one silos has got the stuff, one silos has got the stuff. So the mat approach, how it became like in the Gaudiya mat, is that there is a mat. Mat means monastery. Mat means where the brahmacharis and sannyasis live. An ashram for brahmachari and sannyasi. There's a mat, and then each mat has got their own guru. So there's a guru, they are their disciples, sometimes the sannyasis, brahmachari, grihas, and so on. So they are like silos. So this is one silo at the top, you can see, and then generally one or two or more, they become gurus and they create another silos. Often, it's not the only dynamics, but often it's like, if you need to become guru, you have to create your own mat. Otherwise, there is only, in other words, often, I'm not saying always, but often there is space for only one guru in the mat. In fact, the guru in these mats are like a pontiff, like a pope is the ultimate. You cannot have two popes. Although a few years ago we had two popes, so one was the functional one was the retired one. Okay, so this is also dangerous because in your mat, each mat is by itself. So we see nowadays each mat has got their own standards. Some gurus initiate with 4 rounds, some guru initiate with 1 round, some guru may initiate with no rounds. So there is a lot of variety because there is no central standardization. So it's also a weak system, weak at least for, first of all, to maintain standard, because it's a mat, it's a separate mat. You cannot tell them anything. You cannot just say, hey, but you're not doing this or that, or the standard of deity worship. You cannot say. It's their own mat. It's their own organization. It's registered separately with all these names: Chaitanya Mat, Chaitanya System, Chaitanya Saraswati, whatever names they have. There are many, many, many. There are always more because this the system of fragmentation continues. So it's not very good to maintain standards. Although I'm not saying there could be some very great devotees. I'm not discarding the members of these mats, but as a system, talking about system, it's not very safe because in the mat anything can happen. One can change stuff. And also, it's not very good for a coordinated approach to outreach, to propagation, because every mat has got their own project, their own program, their own properties, so they don't communicate, or they communicate just very superficially, like that. Now, the third system is what I call, as an analogy, the university approach. So what's a university? University is one institute, but there are many teachers, many professors. So the university approach, this is a photo from the 2019 SGGS, the Sanghas of Gurus, Sannyasis, and GBCs. Every 2 years there is this thing in Mayapur where GBC invites the gurus, the sannyasis, and they spend some time together discussing things. So this was in 2019. You could see maybe some of you recognize some of them. So it's more like many gurus, but under the same roof, institutional roof, and all under a governing body commission, like Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur wanted, like Srila Prabhupada established. So, while facilitating personal guidance and mentorship through individual shiksha and diksha relations, the university approach offers the widest variety of shiksha. In other words, you're not limited. You have, as the scriptures say, you have one diksha guru, but you can have many shiksha gurus. You can find inspiration from many devotees. So it's very enriching, like a university. You may have, say, your own professor who follows you And he will say, for instance, he checks your university thesis or your work personally. That's your professor. He checks your development. But then you have also so many other professors. So you go for, so this offers the widest network of support for the students, the disciples. It's like, for instance, maybe your guru is not a Sanskrit scholar, but there are other gurus who are Sanskrit scholars. Like we have Ridananda Maharaj, before we had Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, and others like that. Or say, maybe your guru is not so expert in deity worship, but then you have gurus like, say, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, who are actually expert in that area, and so on, and so on and so forth, like that. Everybody knows the philosophy, at least the basic teachings, and everybody follows the standards. And the protection is that if some people have problems, then there is a higher authority, even of gurus. There is an higher authority and say, hey, wait a minute, you are deviating either philosophically or maybe you have a problem with sense control. So we have to take a time off. You should be suspended. You cannot take initiation. You cannot take disciples anymore, at least for some time, like that. So there is support, even if the guru, in the unfortunate circumstance that the guru leaves, you have a network. Your network of support. There's so many other gurus. I'll give you an example. I was initiated in 1981 by Guru Bhagavan Maharaj. Then in 86, he had this problem. He had to leave his ashram as sannyasa. And he actually, for some time, he was not even active in ISKCON. So, but, there was a big family. There were so many other spiritual masters, senior devotees, Srila Prabhupada disciples. So I took shelter. Personally, I took shelter in Japtaka Maharaj. Others took shelter in other devotees. But, the university stays. Even if a professor dies or a professor has a problem, the university remains. So it's the safest. Safest means not that there cannot be any problem, but there are solutions. There is a network. So the system also allows for quality control. If somebody starts saying something crazy, then somebody will say, hey, wait a minute, what are you teaching to your disciples? What philosophy are you teaching? Like that. So there are many students, many different disciples, and there are different lecturers, there are different professors, and so on. You see all these pictures on the wall. I don't know, this must be some outstanding professors in that university, and everybody can benefit. Like, for instance, I benefit a lot from knowing personally and reading, say, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj books. Or I benefited from Tamal Krishna Maharaj works, and so on. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. Or other living devotees like Banu Maharaj, a scholar. So when I hear from him, just today I was studying his translation of a verse by Srila Rupa Goswami. So we are all enriched by everybody else, if we want to be enriched, of course. It's like a student in the university. If you want to study, there is a lot to study. There are huge libraries. There are many lectures. If you don't want, nobody can do anything, So in a university, every student can become a professor. Not all students become professor, but everybody can, through standard training and certification. There is a path. Similar in ISKCON, ideally every disciple can and should prepare to become a preceptor. Like some of you are already working like teachers, like spiritual guides, call it Shiksha Guru, call it Vatma Pradasha Guru. I don't know if among you is there any Diksha Guru, but you could become a Diksha Guru. But many of you are working as mentors, as guides, as advisors, as teachers, professors. So here is a graphic. We can start first from the top. At the top is Srila Prabhupada as the founder Acharya, and of course he has his own connection with the Sampradaya, his guru, the guru of his guru, all the way to Lord Chaitanya, and all the way to Lord Brahma, and all the way to Krishna. So it's a disciple succession. But if you start from the bottom, let's say this bottom are new people. They come in touch with Krishna consciousness, okay? And this line, the first line down is a initiation. So these people, they become initiated devotees, and they keep building experience, building knowledge, and so on. Then they move second initiation, okay? Then they continue. Some of them continue, and they become leaders. Leaders, I don't mean leaders, administrative leaders necessarily, but they become leaders, at least locally. They have a Namahata, Bhakti Vriksha. They teach, maybe they go in the local schools, or they teach at the temple. There are so many ways. So at one point, through the process of ISKCON law, GBC resolution, they can become appointed as guru. So you see in the middle, appointment. And then they become guru. And you can see, guru, there are, we could say, younger gurus, the more senior gurus, more senior gurus. Like, for instance, in ISKCON, we have gurus who became gurus 1 year ago, 2 years ago. And there are gurus who are there since 10, 15 years. And there are gurus who are gurus since more than 78. So 78 will be what? 47 years. They have been guru for 47 years, almost half a century that they're initiating, and so on. So obviously, there is also gradation. It may not be an official gradation, right? It's not that, okay, you're a senior guru, you're a junior guru. But socially, within the university, if you use the analogy, there are no tenure professors, junior professors, and so on. So similarly, there are obviously gurus who are just appointed or authorized to initiate disciple 1 year ago, and some they are doing since many years. And of course, Srila Prabhupada is the founder Acharya for everyone in ISKCON. Okay, so I hope this will help graphically to understand. You see the dotted line, meaning these are all initiated devotees at different levels of seniority, knowledge, wisdom, activity in outreach, and then they become spiritual masters. In other words, from just being, they remain disciples, but now they can also accept disciples, all in the service of His divine grace. So there is a upward path, which is open to everyone. It's not like, oh, you are from this place, you cannot do it, or you are too young, or you are too old. You know, everybody in theory can advance in this and can become, as every student in the university, can also become a teacher and a professor. Okay, so any questions or comments? Any doubts? Any perplexity?
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this education. It somehow worked out perfectly in the sense that this course you taught some time ago, that's like 4 years ago, close to, is very relevant to today's text. So it's very appropriate you share this with us. Dear devotees, If anyone may have questions, comments, reflections, realizations, you may want to ask or share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your realizations and reflections. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, like again, I said, thank you so much for sharing this. I still have this question about guru-disciple relationship. Sometimes I hear some devotees say the Siksha Guru is actually more important than the Diksha Guru. And I also personally feel that the Diksha Guru is my real father. It's just like you were talking about the three different types of gurus, and you were saying the university one is the most ideal one. So I'm an African by birth, and we have extended family lifestyle in Africa. So as much as I revere my uncles, as much as I revere my aunties and my extended family, no one is as dear to me as my own father. And I feel that my own father, in this sense of spiritual training, is the one who gave me Diksha. And therefore, if the person who gave me Diksha is my real father, and I have an uncle who is my Siksha, and this Siksha is telling me things that are contrary to my father, if my uncle is telling me to do things that are contrary to my father, if my Siksha is telling me to do things that are contrary to my Diksha, then I feel that I have to go by what my father told me. I have to go by what Diksha told me. What do you say in this regard?
Yeah, that's a general rule and etiquette that the Shiksha Guru should support the relation between the Diksha Guru and the disciples. So, yeah, generally that's the understanding. So there should be like a cooperation. Just like a university, say there's a chemistry department. It's not that one professor says H2O is water and somebody say, no, H3O is water. Obviously, and when we say, okay, what is more important, Shiksha, Diksha, the point is that the Diksha Gurus, they're also Shiksha Gurus. There's nobody who just goes around and gives initiation, he never gives a lecture, he never speaks about Krishna. So when it's not there are two different categories. Diksha Guru is a Shiksha Guru who initiates disciples, those disciples who want to get initiated. In other words, the Diksha Guru aspect, it would say it's a more private, right? Like for instance, I see a sannyasi, let's say Bhakti Marg Maharaj. Okay, just the first who came to mind, Srila Prabhupada said. Bhakti Marg Maharaj. For me, is my senior, obviously is a sannyasi, so is the head of all ashram and varnas. He is a Srila Prabhupada disciple, so is my uncle anyway. Plus, he has much more experience in many areas of ISKCON, okay? So, and if I hear from him and maybe I get inspiration from him, but for me, he's not a Diksha Guru. He's a Diksha Guru for his disciples. Just like my physical father is a father to me, it's not that he's father to everybody. So at the same time, for his disciples, Bhakti Marg Maharaj is Diksha Guru, but he's also Shiksha Guru, because it's not just giving japas and names. Your name is this, your name is that, your name is that. No, he gives lectures, he teaches, he gives advice, and so on. Then some people may take initiation, and then they establish that type of relation. So there's not like a dichotomy. Now, what is a Diksha Guru? This is a Shiksha Guru. Of course, there are Shiksha Guru who don't accept disciple for whatever reason. For whatever reason, either because of choice, like we have in Mayapur, this Jananivas Prabhu, very senior Pujari, right? Famous all over the world. He's not accepting disciple. But I'm sure if he wanted to accept disciple, many people would take initiation from him. He doesn't want. It's not his thing. He doesn't see it as his service. Okay. Now it may also happen. It may also happen that somebody takes initiation in some place. Maybe there's a local guru who takes initiation and is perfect, and he remains a disciple of the guru because this diksha can only be one. But then maybe he establishes a stronger relation, more or a closer working relation with somebody else, with the permission of his guru. No? Say, for instance, he takes initiation in Brazil. I'm just giving an example, okay? And then he moves to Mayapur. And then maybe he becomes much more close to a local guru. So he spends more time, a part of that project, and so on. So maybe in that sense, in the functional sense, the Shiksha Guru for him is more important than Diksha Guru. But it's not automatic, and the Diksha Guru remains the Diksha Guru. It's like sometimes it happens that, okay, you have your father, but maybe you spend much more time with your uncle. Maybe you go and work with your uncle, right? You know, you're from a city, and then but your uncle is some other city, and then you go and work with your uncle. So you spend much more time with your uncle than with your father. What to speak if, yeah. So it may become more important in your day-to-day life because you work with him. But your father remains your father. So there are all gradations. So there is a general etiquette. Guru, Diksha Guru is one. All the Diksha Gurus are also Shiksha Guru because they all instruct disciples. And at the same time, there is a variety of relations, intensity of relation, we could say compatibility, and so on. Maybe you have a Diksha Guru, but you like more to listen the classes of another guru because maybe it maybe is more learned, or maybe for your particular need, maybe you take a course on a particular thing, say on nectar of devotion, and that guru is very expert. Like that. So there is a variety. So when we understand the basic etiquette, the basic rules, then within these rules, there is a lot of variety. Does it help?
Yes, it helps a lot. It helps a lot. Now, talking about etiquette, I am also very much concerned about etiquette because I wouldn't want to address you as, because in ISKCON, somebody may be called Govinda, but he may be Govinda Prabhu, and somebody may be called Govinda and maybe Govinda Dasi. So these adjectives help us understand who the individual is, that this person is in a male body, this person is in a female body. Now, if you may help, what is the difference between someone being addressed as Swami and someone also being addressed as Goswami?
Oh,
Any difference?
well, as far as I know, I mean, I don't have a quote, but generally, yeah, it's not a rule. What I understand is the same word. One is the short form. No, Swami means controller, master. Go means of the senses. So Swami means Goswami, and Goswami means Swami. I heard once, and it's not, I don't have any reference, but once I heard that Goswami is given for those who were married before, and Swami is for those who were not married before. So, like for instance, you have Satsarup Das Goswami, you have Hridayananda Das Goswami, but you have Jayapataka Swami, like that. So that's what I heard, but I don't know if it's used all the time or. But in the we could say etymological linguistic is basically the same thing. It means a sannyasi. In fact, we don't generally, when we speak with a sannyasi, we don't say Swami, we say Maharaj. That's like the title. Just like we say Prabhu as a respectful address. Yeah, so these are things of etiquette and usage. Like for instance, I don't know in Africa, but in America it's very common, and sometimes it's even requested to call also women Prabhu.
Yeah.
And some women don't feel very happy if they call them Matajis.
Yeah.
As if they were not teachers, they're only mothers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, in India, if you call a lady Prabhu, they feel, what Prabhu? What, you don't see me, I'm a sari. But in other parts, and they have also their reasons. They also, Srila Prabhupada used sometimes to call his disciple, lady disciple Prabhu. There are letters, there are various examples. Srila Prabhupada using Prabhu for ladies. But it's a cultural thing. That's why sometimes, like, if you don't know, if you are in mixed lectures, instead of say Matajis, you could just say Vaishnavis. That's like a general thing, right? So there is, see, when we talk about etiquette means social interactions, there is also fluidity. There is also customs, right? Certain things that in one place is perfectly right, and in another place is not right. I remember in some time back, there was a discipleship of Prabhupada lady, and I was mentioning her name in front of her, and I said something like this, Devi, or Devi is also respectful. I didn't want to call her Mataji. I said Prabhu, and she protested. No, my name is Dasi. Yeah, but okay, yeah, that's your name. She Prabhupada gave you the name, but for me, I need some sort of respectful way of addressing you.
Yeah.
Anyway, these are small things that happen in in a big society, in a global society, and we come from different cultures, and I don't know. In Africa, the ladies you call matajis. What do you call?
Yeah, we address them as Mataji or David Dasi.
Yeah, but you are in America, so you know that many ladies they don't appreciate that you call them mataj.
No, they don't.
They don't at all.
They expect to be addressed as Prabhus also. Yes.
Yes, so there are local differences, local flavors.
Yeah. I mean, the explanation you gave to Swami and Goswami, that is what I have heard also, that those who were once married and became sannyasis, they are often referred to as Goswami. But like you said, I haven't seen any scriptural reference to that. But we see in ISKCON, lots of the time, sannyasis being addressed as Goswamis were once married. Maybe they were married for maybe 3 weeks, 1 month.
There are cases like that. Yeah, some were long term. Yeah, but
Yeah. So Maharaj means a king. So why are the sannyasis addressed as Maharaj? And is it limited to just sannyasis in ISKCON?
in ISKCON, yes. Generally, I mean, I know some gurus, like for instance, Virabahu Prabhu is a guru in South America. And the devotees call him Maharaj, Virabahu Maharaj. It's very common. So it's not a rule. Again, there is a lot of local permutations. It's not a rule. Maharaj, what I understand is that, of course, it doesn't mean the king in the political, governmental sense, but more like Maharaj is the head of society. And in one sense, it's like by going around, it's like almost like the Lord of the community. I guess that's my understanding.
Well, I once heard from His Grace Chaitanya Charan also explained that Maharaj is limited to sannyasis in ISKCON because Maharaj means king, like in the political sense, like you said. And the sannyasis are called Maharaj because they have been able to control their senses. They've been able, so more or less it's like Goswamis.
Yeah.
And because they are masters of, because Maharajas are masters, they control the people in the kingdom. But this individual has been able to control his own senses. So Maharaj is limited to sannyasis.
Yeah. See, also because sometimes what happens is that we live in society, and in Indian society there are many ways to call saintly people, brahmanas. Sometimes Maharaj is a common saying, or Swamiji. It's very common to be called Swamiji, meaning no, you are a brahmana, you're in white, but they call you Swamiji. No, it's like in the Catholic priest you call father, right? What does it mean? No, it's not a biological father, but spiritual father. Like I tell you, in South India, in the Madhva line, every pujari is called acharya.
Hmm.
That's how you address acharya, like that. So these are now in the course of time, in course of the centuries and millennia, these are etiquettes that start being used, right? And like they call Gandhi. Some politicians say, "Oh, he is Mahatma," and so now all over the world they call him Mahatma Gandhi. That was not his name. His name was Mohandas Gandhi. That was his name. But everywhere in the world is Mahatma Gandhi. So titles and things like that. Actually, many devotees don't know what's Srila Prabhupada sannyas name. I don't know how many of you know what's actually is initiated sannyas name.
Is it Abhay Charande?
No? So
We're
Abhay Charande.
actually talking about this, so it's nice you're talking about it today.
So Abhay Charande is his passport name. Okay? Abhay Charan De. De is a name, family name.
Yeah.
Okay? His initiated name as first initiation is Abhay Charanaravinda.
Okay.
That's why we call AC.
Yeah.
Now, what is Srila Prabhupada's sannyas name?
That I do not know. I don't know if anybody else here knows. Please unmute and answer if you do.
Bhaktivedanta.
Actually, Bhaktivedanta is a title. It's a title that they gave him because of his expertise in writing. In fact, they gave him even before he took sannyas. It's a title. It's an honorific title, Bhaktivedanta. They even, some people thought maybe we should give Bhaktisiddhanta, but then Bhaktisiddhanta was also no better to give another name. So they gave as a title Bhaktivedanta. Okay, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
He was initiated by his godbrother Keshava Maharaj, Bhakti Pragya Keshava Maharaj, in 1959 in Mathura as Swami. In other words, his sannyas name is Swami.
What?
Yes. There are some traditional names, like Sridhar, Keshava. So his name is Swami. That's why if you're going to go to India, you see many Gaudiya Math people, they don't want to say Prabhupada because they say Prabhupada is only for Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and they call him Swami Maharaj.
Mm.
So if you are in India or another whatever, in Bengal, sometimes they don't want to say Prabhupada, they say Swami Maharaj because that was his initiated name. It's a bit peculiar, no? Because Swami generally is the name of a sannyasi, but not the name, right? Sridhar Swami, Keshava Swami, Padmanabha Swami, right? But in Srila Prabhupada's case, his name is Swami.
Hare Krishna, sorry. And in the Makine Bhagavat Dharma, the song he wrote when he got to America, he did say in that song, Bhaktivedanta Nam, I've been named Bhaktivedanta.
Yes.
Yes.
It's a title. I mean, a title is also a name,
Yeah.
but was not the initiated name. He also had the name before taking sannyas. As far as I know, we could double check, but yes, it's not a name. It's not an initiation name.
It's like an accolade.
Yeah. It's a honorific title. It's an accolade. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like if you say Professor such and such, his name is not Professor, but it's recognized as Professor. So sometimes you always say Professor such and such, Professor such and such, Doctor such and such.
Yeah.
So A.C. Abhay Charan Ravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and in his case, Bhaktivedanta, of course, is more famous or more prominent, we could say, than his initiated name.
That means that Srila Prabhupada retained his, like a family name, which is like in the Western world, we'll say his Christian name, Abhay. And then he retained the sannyas name. He also retained the sannyas name. And then the Bhaktivedanta, which is the honorific. That was
also Prabhupada is honorific. No, it's not an initiation. Nobody gave him as a name. It's an honorific.
Yeah.
So, well, see, what happened often in the Gaudiya Math, because in India many people already have a spiritual name, right? So sometimes they just add something. So his name was already Abhay Charan, right? So it was already fearless because of the lotus feet of Krishna. So it was already a spiritual name. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur added Aravinda. Aravinda means lotus. So it's not just Bhakti Abhay Charan Aravinda. So his initiated name is Abhay Charan Aravinda, like that. And sometimes we see in even in ISKCON sometimes the sannyasis keep the initials of their name in formal occasion. Like for instance, Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj, right? But his name was Avinash Chandra. So sometimes he calls himself A.C. Bhaktivaibha Swami, no? Avinash Chandra. So, there is fluidity. It's not like a rule, Like we say Grihastha, Sahadeva Das Adhikari, right? Adhikari for Grihastha. So many things. Sometimes we don't. But informally, if we are in a conference, I would say, His Grace, Shriman Sahadev Prabhu Adhikari. I will add as much as possible, right? Like that. So sometimes you use the full title, and sometimes you just use something more handy or minimalistic.
Yeah. Well,
I'm
thank you, Prabhuji. But I have heard like the fastest growing religion in the world today is Islam. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Guinness Book of Records also records that Islam is like the all-rounded religion in the sense that uh, it is more or less like a country with constitution guiding how the constitution has to run, and they follow systematically. Like it tells you if you have more than one wife, who gets what, who gets what when the man dies, the children of the different spouses, what they, everything is systematically given. How people are dressed are all given. So I am thinking that in ISKCON there should be something like that. For example, I I shouldn't be able to address my guru as His Divine Grace. His Divine Grace is solely reserved for Srila Prabhupada. And I think there is a reason for that. And therefore, who gets addressed as His Holiness, His Grace, must be marked out that if this person does this, that, and gets to this point, he is addressed as His Grace
yeah,
or
yeah.
His. Like,
Sorry,
no,
finish.
no, you're right. I think I'm done. Yeah.
Well, you see, we are a young movement, so there are many things that they could be fixed. Like, for instance, the word Thakur. Sometimes we have devotees who give the title Thakur. For instance, they call Jayananda Thakur, or they call Aindra Thakur. You know, and there is no law that you cannot really call somebody Thakur. There's, at least at the moment, there's no law. It's more a feeling, a sentiment, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not codified. It's not. There's no norm that okay, who gets the title Thakur. It's more some people feel very inspired, say, by Jayananda Prabhu, and so they call it Jayananda Thakur. There are many things. As far as Islam, I mean, their growth is mostly biological. They have a lot of children, especially in Sub-Saharan Africa. That's like the most intense demographic growth. And also there is so many differences within different Islamic people. Like, for instance, many Islamic people, say in the Gulf, they criticize the Islamic Taliban in Afghanistan. That they're very against about they treat women. So Islam is not one block and everybody does the same. I mean, you have Boko Haram, right? And they kidnap
Okay.
entire villages of girls. That's not the Islam of Egypt or the Islam of Indonesia.
Yeah.
So some Islamic people they say we should put Sharjah law. Some Islamic people they don't want Sharjah law. So we should not think that Islam. Plus, there are big divisions: the Sunni, the Shia. They kill each other very generously.
Yeah.
When they have an opportunity, they hate each other. There are so many differences. Like you have the Shia in Persia, in Iran, they don't like to use much Arabic, right? Although Arabic is their Sanskrit, right? But they like more Farsi. And so it's a whole world. I mean, there are about 1,600,000,000 or 700,000,000 Muslims. So there are all sorts.
Yeah.
And sometimes they very often they hate each other. They hate each other.
Yeah. Very much. I remember once we went to Toronto, Canada, for a ride, and we had to take a cab from point A to point B, and the cab driver uh, was saying, I mean, we were talking, and we are talking how we are friends with some of the Muslims. So he asked, what denomination? We said, the Ahmadiyans. He said, oh, they are not Muslims. The Ahmadiyans are not Muslims because the Ahmadiyans are kind of very liberal, and they kind of listen to other religious faiths, and they are very kind of accommodating. But this guy, I think he was a Sunni. So he said the Ahmadiyans in the Islamic tradition, they are not considered Muslim. So,
It's like, yeah, it's like Christians. Sometimes Jehovah Witness, they don't consider them Christians, right? Yeah, so like Jehovah Witness, they are not Christians. It's a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot of there's a lot of tribalism, right? Within anybody. I mean, it's just nature, human nature, and sometimes what do you call it? Those who are closer, sometimes they are more. There's more animosity, right? Like for instance, for us, I'm talking in general but say for us, we are more upset with the Ritviks than we are upset with the Christians, right?
Yeah.
Because the Christians are that everything the same, just the guru function, the guru tattva is different. I'm not even the guru tattva, the more like the Diksha guru tattva is different. Otherwise, everything is the same. But for us, Ritvik, no, okay, Christians are Christians, okay, very well, Jesus Christ, Ijaya. So it's a natural thing that those who are closer, it's like Italians, they don't like French people. They're just next door, right? They don't mind Japanese or Koreans because they're very far. Who cares? In fact, during the Second World War, Italians and Japanese were allies, right? I'm just saying that sometimes the closer. I mean, in Africa, once Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj said that different tribes in Africa, between different tribes, there is more division than what in North America between blacks and white.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, there is more since they're different. So you know better than me. I mean, but for somebody comes from outside, they look the same, no? But maybe among themselves, is the tribe is an enemy. Finish, So
much to the point that sometimes they even prevent inter-tribal marriages. This tribe, you cannot marry anybody from that type of tribe. Things are changing now, so.
Yeah.
But it used to be like that.
Yeah,
Right.
because also historically speaking, these divisions of the country, it was just artificial, right?
Yeah.
Like Ghana, no, it was called Golden Coast, and Nigeria, Togo in particular. They cut it like this with the capital on the border, right?
Yeah.
Those are all artificial things. Just like in the Middle East, the British cut many countries, Kuwait, Iraq. It was not like natural divisions. In fact, within Iraq, there are different tribes. They hate each other. Within Afghanistan, there are different tribes. They hate each other. So sometimes the political divisions are just artificial and nothing to do with the traditional divisions of the country. I mean, you know this better than me, I'm sure.
No, you're speaking facts. Yes, that's what's going on.
Yeah, that's why the Bhagavatam is so important, because it goes beyond all this. I mean, you heard this many times, but we are not the body. And when Vidura asks, what's the nature of the self? What's the nature of the supreme? And Srila Prabhupada quotes, you may have noticed in the purport today, 529. Srila Prabhupada said this is the peace formula. Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridham Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantirichati. He says, those who know these three things about me, Gyatva Mam, they achieve peace. And peace in a broader sense, yeah, right. In the purple, you can see 529. Okay. Oh, so you just went, no, you can go to the Sanskrit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Gyatva Man Shantirichati. I mean, if one knows that, he will reach peace on many levels, internal and external, because he says he is the enjoyer. So you put him in the center first. Second, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. You know, he's the controller. So you know that he's the authority, he's the boss, he's the ultimate Lord. And then Suridham Sarva Bhutanam. Suridham means is the well-wisher, is the friend. What it says there, benefactor. Suridham means, Ridham means heart. Su means something positive. So it's like he has a good heart for everyone. So benefactor, to do good. Sarva Bhutanam. So either you are French or Italian or Japanese, Korean, or you're this tribe or that tribe, then you understand, oh, Krishna is Sarva Bhutanam. He loves those people. Maybe I don't feel naturally to love those people, but Krishna loves them, so I guess I should also at least like them. I mean, I should at least be friendly, because these are God people ultimately. So Bhagavatam is so important. Bhagavad Gita is so important because Krishna doesn't speak anything ethnic, doesn't speak anything denominational, doesn't speak anything even religious in one sense. He speaks tattva. Tattva means the nature of things as they are. So he says, this is the soul, it's not the body. And really, the human beings need this culture, because right now, as a species, we are chopping each other into pieces all over the world. Look at Ukraine, look at Gaza, look at Sudan, 10 million people displaced. People are suffering, and all based on the body, just because they don't have this thing that, look, we are all children of God. Let's work together, like in a family. You may don't like all your brothers and sisters for whatever reason, but you're a family. You come together and you talk. I remember when I was in Cleveland in the Krishna Nandini house, Krishna Nandini Mataji. I think you all know her, right? So I was in their house, Cleveland, and they were discussing about what to do with the mother, right? Very old. By the way, Srila Prabhupada disciple, the mother was also Srila Prabhupada disciple. I don't remember her name. So the whole family came.
Bhumi Mata.
Okay, so yes. So all the family came and they were discussing, okay, who takes care of this Bhumi Mata, no. And they were obviously different religions, different cities, but they came together because, okay, we have a common mother, let's discuss. Obviously, I was not in that meeting, but there were 6, 7 of them around the table, I remember, and they were discussing. So similarly, this is such an essential and urgent, just like Srila Prabhupada, we saw the quote, this is the time that needs hundreds and thousands of gurus, because otherwise, many so-called teachers, they just exacerbate division. You are this, I'm that, you're this, you're that. And then there's no solution. It's all illusory. What does it mean? What does it mean? Are you talking about skin color? Are you talking about some tradition, religious tradition? You're Jews and there's Islamic. What does it mean? We are children of God. So, yeah, of course, we are not going to merge all together, but we still respect. You have your, Like Srila Prabhupada says, in Calcutta, at one point, the Muslims and the Hindus were very friendly. Then sometime, okay, Hindu would go to a Muslim mosque for some ceremony, and sometime Muslims would come to a Hindu festival, No, they understand. You're Hindu, but they're all Indians, they're all Bengalis, they speak the same language, they live in the same city. Then they say, but then the British created a lot of tension, right? Created a lot of tension, and then it became violence. And the British actually cut the country into two, the partition of India, right? Before it was just India. India, Bangladesh, Pakistan was all one, was India. But then the British created Pakistan. Actually, it was called East Pakistan, West Pakistan, because East Pakistan was Bangladesh and East Pakistan is Pakistan. And millions of people died because the Hindus tried to come to India. Some Muslims went to Pakistan. They killed each other. And then there was another war because Bangladesh didn't want to go to be under Pakistan anymore. So another war for the independence of Bangladesh. So again, I mean, this philosophy, but sometimes it's good to remember it's all artificial. It's all artificial. There's nothing. I remember Srila Prabhupada says there were these riots in Calcutta between Hindu and Muslims, and so many people died. And he saw this with his eyes, right? He said, at the end, you don't know who is Muslim, who is Hindu. People come with the cart and they throw in they take it and they burn it at the Ganga. And you can't see anymore because they're all Bengalis. So you can't see anymore who is Hindu, who is Muslim. But somehow the British created this division, created this enmity. So that's why we need gurus. A guru is not just a career path to be worshipped. Guru is a way of dedicating one's life to give knowledge to people. Then somebody will take initiation, but most people won't. Not most people you speak with will not take initiation from you anyway. I know, for instance, this guru, you may know Kalakanta Prabhu.
Yeah,
It's American. So yeah, in Gainesville, he's a guru, but in his Krishna house, there's so many disciples, and he's not really that profile. Of course, people know he's a guru and he has some disciples, but it's very much like a parish priest, we could say, right? He's there, he teaches, he's a poet, he's a writer, he's an author, he's an administrator, he's a visionary, but people don't relate, he's guru. He's Kalakanta Prabhu, and some people take initiation from him. And he's not expecting or desiring that everybody takes initiation from him. So we need to establish this sense of family in ISKCON and also the world that, okay, you worship God in another way, fine, fine. Just do it nicely, that's all.
Yeah.
And then intelligent people, slowly, intelligent people, they will see that, well, in the Vedas, in the Bhagavatam, there is more information. But factually, there is more information. There is God, there is a kingdom of God, but in these books, it tells you the form, the name, the pastimes, the associates of God. So intelligent people will say, well, there's more information here.
Yeah.
Like you all did. I don't know what's your background individually, but you found something more in the Krishna consciousness. And I don't know each of you personally, but I assume that you don't feel that you rejected your religion or you rejected Jesus or things. No, but you move on. You move on to a higher class. Like you are in kindergarten, you move to first standard, second, third, then you move college, university. It's not that you reject, what is that elementary school? No, in elementary school, you're still very grateful because they gave you the basics, right? You can write, you can do mathematics, arithmetics, you can read, because of elementary school. Now you're in university, it's fine, but you don't reject the elementary school. You just move on. You grow up.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this depth of knowledge and wisdom. And I believe it's quite late your time. So if devotees have nothing more to ask or to share, we're going to humbly request the devotees to kindly unmute. And we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Please, my basis is all goes to Srila Prabhupada, all goes to Bhakti Tirtha Swami Maharaj, and everyone here, to include the amazing and wonderful KAUNTEya Das.
Hare
He
Krishna.
and his lovely wife, I appreciate so very much. I met them many years ago. I wanted to add to the Prabhuji, Prabhujini, Mataji aspect of the conversation that I'm going to state this not as a argument of any kind or disrespect of anyone's desire to be called whatever they wish to be called, but I will state with my own information and acknowledgement that to be a mother is one of the highest services on the planet that one can aspire to in Krishna consciousness. Again, this is not an argument or disrespect to anyone who chooses or does not. This is to acknowledge that to be the vessel, be the soil that Krishna's seeds are planted in by the service of Das, and to be the caretaker and the milk bottle and the nurturer and the nurse and every other thing that comes along with being a mother on this planet to Krishna's children, which is every child of everybody, because the soul is involved. And if we know that and understand that, from an educated perspective, then it's done with the best intentions and in the best way that mother should be supported and served, because that is also one of the higher services. All service is amazing, wonderful, and I will state there's no service more important than another. I'm saying it's high level because it involves service to devotees, it involves service to souls. And as we caretake in a mother's mood, which is the mood of a guru, which is the mood, or should I say, should be the mood of a guru, a teacher, anyone in an authoritative position who offers love, nurturing, care, compassion, education, support, and inspiration. That is one of the greatest things that can be done. And that can be done in a male body or a woman's body. I personally am very thankful to have had the opportunity to do that service, and I still do for my two children. I also do it for other children as a Sunday school teacher, as a community member, not just in the temples, but outside the temples. We offer care, education, and service. So mother is not a bad thing. However, I will say, because this is a new society, there are many who have come in or are still in the society who have disrespected the position of mother, thereby abusing women, disrespecting them, not supporting them, chastising them, and being unkind in so many ways. And in this way, some women, more particularly of the earlier years in ISKCON, they do not prefer that word because it was with that word that they were spat upon and abused in so many different ways. So I respect their choices to not be called mother. However, I wanted to put forth that the word mother has a specific meaning and energy and mood, and it is, I can't have it minimized in any way if I'm around. Thank you so much. Hi, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Kantiya Prabhu, do you have something to say in regards to what she shared?
I see there is a hand up, Varacharya Prabhu.
Yeah, Shrimavara Acharya Prabhu, please give me unmute. Hare Krishna Shrimavara, are you Prabhu? Are you still there?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Okay, so this actually thank you for the elaborate discussion.
Hold on, please. Your audio is not clear enough. I don't know whether it's from your headset.
I'm going to be packing now, right now, so let it be clearer. Is it okay?
Yeah, you may go ahead.
I'm just arriving now. Okay. So, just back to the title of Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, back to Vedanta. I made reference to that song Srila Prabhupada wrote on the Galadita ship, on board the Galadita ship. He mentioned in that song that he has been named Bhaktivedanta. So one would think, I mean, Prabhu, like you said, that Bhaktivedanta is a title. And then one would think probably, well, that title was awarded to him when he went to when he became big, or when he went to America, he became successful. But right on the board to on the way to the America, he said, "I've been named Bhaktivedanta." So I would just like to know at what point he got this title, if it was not the sannyasi name. That's what I want the clarification about. Thank you.
Well, I think Shrimavara Prabhu, you came in a little late, but he had mentioned it. But Prabhu, you can go ahead and repeat yourself.
See, if you want a specific year, I'm not sure, but I believe it's in the Lilamrita. If somebody can check the Lilamrita, it is said that because he was a very expert in presenting the philosophy, he was writing for the Gaudiya Math publications, so they wanted to give him a title. In fact, I mean, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would give different titles. It was not something extraneous to the Gaudiya Math. Now, I would need to check exactly, but if somebody has access to the Lilamrita, if you check Bhaktivedanta awarded, it may not give the exact date. It could be in the 40s or in the 50s, probably after Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. But yeah, it's definitely before going to America. And it's not because of his preaching in America. That I'm 100% sure. It was for his expertise in presenting the philosophy, especially in English. And in fact, you know that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said at one point, he said, whatever he writes, publish it. It was like a blanket statement, like a blank check, whatever Abhay Babu, they would call him Abhay Babu, whatever Babu writes, you publish it. No, I don't need to double check or anything. So if you want the exact year, we got to figure it out. But I'm sure. I mean, I can look. Let me go on ChatGPT and ask when Srila Prabhupada was awarded the title Let me see what ChatGPT says. Here, ChatGPT many times this is AI, right? So many times is wrong. So I don't take it 100%. Here it says 1933, but I'm not sure. we need a little more research. Sorry, I don't have that information on my fingertips right now. But it's there in the Lilamritas, the description at least.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for making it clearer. Now it's getting more clearer. All along I thought it was Bhaktivedanta Swami. I thought, but anyway, it's a new
No,
information.
I also discovered after many years. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a good thing you're trying to check on ChatGPT. But I don't know how popular is this new Google search for ISKCON devotees that was created by Keshava Maharaj. I don't know. Do you use that sometimes?
Which one?
I think Keshava Maharaj created some Google research, especially
Which Maharaj? Which Maharaj? Sorry, Chris?
So I
Bhagavad
am Keshava.
Oh, Keshav Maharaj. Well, I've not used it so far, so I don't have an opinion.
I've also not used it, but since you were going to ChatGPT for this purpose, I was thinking it should have been better on that one.
Possible. It's possible.
But I would love to see other devotees using it. I've not used it before, so I'll just ask them. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Well, we thank you all devotees, and as much as I revere souls in the female bodies to also have the same position as masters, I prefer to address souls in the female bodies as mothers. And I remember some time ago in Ghana, I was talking to my dear big brother and my mentor, Shriman Varaha Acharya, and I said, I'm going to talk to Mother Loka. And so he was shocked. He says, who is Mother Loka? I said, my wife. So he says, how can you address your wife as your mother? And coupled with Sri Prabhupada saying that every woman other than our wives should be addressed as mother, reminding us because the most dangerous and most difficult thing to overcome is said to be the last snare of Maya, is this sex life. Sorry. We should address all women as mothers, so it will be ringing in our minds that this person is my mother, so I don't have to do anything romantic with this individual. So I prefer to address women as mothers, and except if I know a particular woman is not happy being addressed that way, then whatever she wishes to be addressed, I will address her that way. But prefer I address women as mothers. Hare Krishna. Well, with that being said, we're going to humbly request you all, devotees, to kindly unmute. And I believe we all have benefited so much from today's encounter with His Grace, KAUNTEya Prabhu, that we all unmute and we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra to express our deepest appreciation to Prabhuji for sharing this depth of wisdom with us today. Jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Panchakalpa Gurudgacha Namo Namaha.
His Grace KAUNTEya Prabhu ki,
Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Prabhupada
Founder
ki
Acharya Sri
Jai,
Prabhupada ki,
Jai Shri
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Bhinde ki Jai, Nitai Gora
ki
Jai.
Jai.
All glories to assemble.
Haribo,
Hare
Jai.
Krishna.